And to take the story further, we are joined in studio by higher education, on Skype by Education Human Resources Management Chief Director Gladys Mapheto. And with me in the studio, of course, is another representative of the union who is a spokesperson of Nehawu, who is Khaya Xaba. Let me start on Skype with Gladys. Good afternoon to Gladys. What do these agreements in all their subsets mean for government in terms of how they had to meet the union halfway concerning their demands?
Okay, thank you so much. You did not indicate your name. I'm just going to respond to your question. What I can say from our side as a department is that we have been engaging all along with all stakeholders, Nehawu included at the chamber. It's just that perhaps we are not actually concluding some.
All right, we seem to be having a problem with our Skype connection there. Well, we will speak to our studio guest in the meantime while we try to re-establish connection with Skype in the meantime. All right, Mr. Xaba, as I have already welcomed you in the studio, let me just get your opening remarks concerning how you, as a union, managed to come together and reach an agreement on the demands that you had put forward.
Well, this is a struggle that we've been waging for the past 4 years, because if you must remember, the negotiations between ourselves and the department started in 2015 when the migration happened, migration from independent councils into the Department of Higher Education, when those workers were taken from those councils into the Department of Higher Education. So what happened was that the migration was not done in a proper manner, so everything was not concluded so that workers can be transferred fully to the department, because remember, if then they are transferred into the department, it means now they are deemed as public servants. So that has not been a case. So these workers have been patient for the past 4 years, and at some point their patience ran thin, and it ran out up to the point where they decided that if we cannot win these battles in the boardroom, it's better that we take them to the streets. Hence, we took the decision of withdrawing our labor power, and that's what we did. And successfully so, we managed to twist the arm of the employer to accede to our demands. Our members are happy with the outcome, and we're also happy with the outcome.
During the discussions, or rather the negotiations, what was the nature of how you were engaging with the representatives of government?
Well, if you might remember, we've negotiated with 3 different ministers. Firstly, it was Minister Mande. Secondly, it was Professor Mkhize, whom we marched to on November 2017. And then now, recently, with Minister Pando. So we've negotiated with 3 different people, and it's been a very protracted negotiations, which ultimately led to a strike. And we believe that it was not supposed to lead to a strike, because as far as we remember, in 2015, Minister Nzimande did give an instruction to the DG to implement the resolution to our demands. And as last year as well, in April, Minister Pandu did also give the same instruction, but for some reason the DG did not do all of that. So ultimately it led to a strike, which it's a last resort which we take, because if you go on strike, of course there's disruptions and so forth. So we had hoped that we would have resolved the issues amicably, but that was not to be the case. But nonetheless, we're happy with the outcome that we have today.
Right, we are back on the line with Gladys Mapheto, who is the Human Resources Management Chief Director at the Department of Higher Education. Well, Gladys, now that you are back, we were still talking about the nature of the negotiations before government and the union were able to meet each other halfway. According to your perspective, how was the atmosphere like during the negotiations for them to come up to this point?
Okay, the negotiations have been calm. We've been in the chamber with them for quite a long time. I mean, since we've been engaging at the level of the GPSSBC. In terms of us meeting again, since they declared a dispute, we only met full day on Monday, and the situation was calm. That's why we actually met for the first time after their strike on Monday, and we actually drafted the very same settlement agreement on Monday. But what I want to indicate is that settlement agreement that we entered into, it does not differ with the settlement agreement decided in November last year, where we were trying to resolve the very big issues. So basically, it was not even difficult for us to finalize that settlement agreement on Monday. Because yesterday, when it was just to print up and continue the proper settlement agreement, the situation was okay. The environment was not tired.
Okay, but Gladys, but Gladys, you're telling me that the situation was calm. The union had a problem with the presence of the Director General when it comes to the negotiations, that they demanded that he must not be in the negotiations because he was part of the problem. And now they are demanding that he should be fired. What do you say about that?
You know what, I cannot comment much on the reasons why they did not want the DG to be there. But what I want to indicate is that if you look at the settlement agreement in terms of the issues that we were dealing with, the very same agreement that we agreed upon on the 224 members of the employees that we needed to make permanent. This was the residual in terms of those who did not meet the criteria. And for us to be able to actually make them permanent, we had to sign a collective agreement, which has been sitting at the chamber waiting for parties to come and sign. The department had already given a mandate for us to implement that. As a department, because it was not in compliance with the legislative framework, we had to set in terms of the department. Already more than 3,000 employees had the criteria, were already made permanent. 224. It's just the residual of those who did not meet the criteria. We've been working together with the very same union in terms of drafting the very same collective agreement and the settlement agreement, which was sitting at the chamber, waiting to be signed so that we can implement it.
All right. Gladys, we seem to be having another problem with our line there, but I mean, like, I'm going to have to leave it there. Perhaps we'll be lucky if we establish another reconnection with you. Let's talk about the issue of the union demanding that the DG must go. What are you going to do now that all of your demands are met, and are you going to go back to work tomorrow?
Well, after signing the agreement, of course, we call off the strike. So then we urge all workers, including our members, to return to work as early as tomorrow morning. So no worker must not be at work tomorrow morning. If they're not working tomorrow morning, then the principals or the department have to deal with that. But from our side, we encourage all members to go back to work. But in relation to the issue of the DG, remember the DG is employed by the president of the country. So it's the president of the country that would have to take the decision in relation to the DG. So the issue, of course, will be escalated to that level. But over and above that, the strike was not about personalities, but it was about what is due to workers and what they deserve and how we feel that they should be treated. And we're happy that this settlement that we've signed today provides platform for that, for them to receive better wages, to be employed on a permanent basis, but also to work in a conducive environment that also creates a conducive environment for learning as well. So we're happy with that, and hopefully the department will stick to the time frames that have been adopted and will implement the settlement as soon as possible. All right. Thank you very much for your time, sir. It's a pleasure. Okay, that's Mr. Xaba, who is Mr. Khaya Xaba is the spokesperson of Nehawu, and a very thanks to the Higher Education Human Resources Management Director, Gladys Mapheto, who got cut off on Skype, but we managed to get the gist of the matter there. Let's take a break, and when we come back, or rather, let me hand over to Peter and Pallister to continue with the program. Stay with us, Peter.